Hello and welcome to Hellbent Holler Live. Let us know you can see us and hear us, and we will get started with this show. I feel like we slid in. Like dust was flying everywhere when we slid in here. So just let us know you can see us and hear us, and we will get it going.
Loud and clear.
Loud and clear. All right. Welcome to a day late and $1 short Hellbent Holler Live. Happy Tuesday, everybody. We were out in the field last night. We were going to do a live stream from the field, but we were going to deploy the Starlink and do that, but the weather was threatening us. So we decided to call it and stick with what we were doing. And then the weather just bypassed us. So by that point, but I prefer a Tuesday because some controversy has reared its ugly head that we can talk about today. So we've got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Before we do that, let's get to John RD 46.3. Thank you, sir. First time catching y'all live. Howdy from down south in the Low Country.
What's up, neighbor?
So that's a Charles. That's near the Charleston area there.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the show. I know a lot of people don't get to watch our show because every Monday they are engaged and they are not able to watch the show at our regular time. That's why I always like doing these Tuesday makeup shows.
Monday's such a tradition, though. Monday's kind of like, we're kind of like locked into it. Even though when we have like long weekends when we're out like on an investigation, it doesn't work out quite so well. But it's just that's what we're stuck with. And then Stephen Rezar's Fiction Factory, separated at birth, Jesse Lee and Morticia Adams, the Carolyn Jones version, which is the hot version. So yeah,
I will absolutely take that. I'm too short to be the Angelica Houston version. Right? I'm way too short for that. But I will take that. Yes.
And then our boy Curtis Whitaker.
Curtis don't hurt us. Curtis, out the gate, my man.
If we don't see Curtis,
that's how we have to. No, we have to send.
Curtis is writing us off on his taxes at this point.
We're dependents.
His accountant's going to be like, "Who are these Hellbent Holler people that you?" Anyway,
don't ask questions.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we were on the road today for most of the day. We got here with enough time to offload all of our equipment, sort of clean the truck a little bit. Yeah. And then I ran in and I found the files that I was looking for, went through them, reviewed the audio that I was looking for to bring you guys some really cool audio that we want to share with you guys. That's pretty raw. I did kind of a quick and dirty enhancement on the little clips that I have just so we can hear it. But when we pull that up, if you want to go ahead and have your headphones ready for that, I do suggest you search those out and have those by you and ready to go. So when we do play those little bits of audio that we captured in the last 24 hours, you'll be ready to hear and enjoy those. I played them for Joe, and he was a little flabbergasted. Of course, you were there.
Yeah, I was there. Now, I heard, just to give people some backstory, we were in North Carolina for a few days and mostly focused on doing some pretty in-depth night investigations in these areas. And we went live for members for a little while, just a few minutes, just to kind of so they could see what we were up to. And we had a kind of like, we're calling it like what do you call it? The S3?
Yes, the super sound stick.
We have a carbon fiber.
I like alliteration. I don't know if anybody knows this about me.
We had a carbon fiber like monopod with a high sensitivity microphone going into a 32-bit digital audio recorder. And then we also had our parabolic set up, and then we had our infrasound detection equipment running. And we were like basically listening. We were in an area where we've heard vocalizations in the past. And the way we were working it was I was monitoring the infrasound detection, because if you guys remember, we have picked up infrasound in connection to what sounded like vocalizations, but as if it was two things communicating with each other. Like, hey, I'm over here. Hey, I'm over here.
And I think we actually did that. We captured that live on that live investigation near Laurel Creek, actually.
So we were trying to see if we could find more data for that. So we went live for a little while. Jesse was using the stick because it's very mobile.
I'm trying to decide if I want to just do the whole name, the Super Sound Stick, or if I want to call it the S3, or if I want to call it the S Cubed device. So if you want to let us know in the chat which one you like, we will take that into consideration. I'm kind of tossing the ideas around, but it's a pretty gnarly, cool little stick that I'm able to capture really, really great far off audio with. But if you'll let us know in the chat, S3 Super Sound Stick.
It works surprisingly well, actually. And it's very mobile. We can use it on foot. We don't use the parabolic setup as much as what we originally thought we were going to, just because it's a pain to set up and take down. You've got to like align your microphone perfectly. You've got to have external power for it. If you hear something, you really can't run off after it because you've got this big parabolic setup. But this sound collection stick, whatever you want to call it, has worked out really surprisingly well. So the plan is that I was going to be sitting there monitoring the infrasound detection equipment and then have the parabolic going. Now, you can't really scan constantly with the parabolic when it's on a tripod because it's so sensitive, it picks up everything. So the plan is Jessie would be scanning with her stick, and then if she heard something, she'd kind of vector me in, and then I would move the parabolic in that direction and then leave it alone, and then we would see what we would hear. So we've been in this area. We've heard some surprisingly consistent vocalizations in this area. If MK Ultra is in the chat right now, he has been there with us and he has heard some of these vocalizations as well. And the goal was to try to like capture them a little bit, with a little bit more clarity than what we have in the past. So we picked up a pretty weird variety of audio from there. We picked up some vocalizations right as we ended the live stream, which was weird. I mean, like literally, we were doing the live stream and then we ended it and we picked up some vocalizations. One vocalization at first, I thought it was a person yelling in the brush. And then I'm like, is that somebody hiding in like the tree line here watching us and like messing with us right now? We couldn't pick anything up on thermal though. So and then when Jesse kind of cleaned the audio up, I'm going, it doesn't sound like a person. I don't know. That's bizarre. It's not what we previously heard in that area. Mm-hmm. We did capture what we previously heard in that area though. Just some standard like Bigfoot kind of sound and whoops at this point. The one almost sounded like a guy yelling.
And a female.
But it would have been a ninja if that was the case. And then when Jesse played the audio for me after she cleaned it up, and this was when I say cleaned up, we just got home a very short while ago and had to unpack, like Jesse said. And then Jesse grabbed her stick audio. So we haven't even really done anything with the parabolic dish yet.
I think right now, as the votes have it and the people have spoken, S3 has taken the lead. Okay. So Jesse grabbed the SD card from the S3 device. Go on.
So anyway, so we haven't even looked at or listened to the parabolic, which is more sensitive. Okay. It's a more sensitive microphone setup. And whatever or whoever made these vocalizations, we should have seen them on the thermal because we were running 2 thermals at that point. We
should have. Definitely did not.
So my only thing is that because Jesse even went, do you think somebody just trying to hoax us out here? And I'm going, where are they? How are they? It's one thing to like, and that's the thing you always have to keep in mind whenever people go, oh, it's just somebody hoaxing you. That's not outside the realm of possibility that couldn't happen sometime. We're set up. We got our parabolic out, blah, 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 blah. Somebody goes, oh, those idiots are trying to I'm going to give them a Bigfoot call and mess with them.
We rolled into town in our giant Hellbent Holler tour bus.
Yeah. But I mean,
we set off the fireworks show.
But the thing is that especially at night, we're going to see them. We're running 2 really good thermal imagers. Do you know what I'm saying? Not to mention the audio collection equipment that we're using is so sensitive and we're in the woods. you have to start breaking everything down. You have to start going, all right, if somebody tried to do a whoop and then move away so we wouldn't see him on thermal, I'm going to hear him on this like parabolic dish. I mean, you can hear stuff on this parabolic dish. It's exceptionally, sensitive. And, so you start going, well, it didn't sound quite like a person. And also, where was the person? We didn't see them on thermal. We didn't hear them approach or move off, even though we're listening. It just sounded like, I don't know, man. It just sounded like something was, I don't know. It just sounded like something just gave us the timing was so weird.
You're teasing it so bad.
I'm teasing it so bad right now because there all of these other factors are going into it. The timing was so weird. That place has a tendency to mess with you. You start hearing stuff, you're fumbling to get your recorder going, you get it, as soon as you hit record, it's like a switch gets cut. Stops.
Yeah.
And again, if MK is in the chat, he's been there with us for some of this. He can chime in.
One of the first times we went to that area and set up camp, it was really late at night. We were trying to be very quiet, setting up camp, kind of eased in. We got there very late, and all of our equipment was piled in the truck, and we heard this insane vocalization in the distance. I mean, it was crispy. It was clear. It was loud. And we did not have our equipment out. And that is breaking one of our cardinal rules that we learned from one of our earliest investigations to always be recording. We were not. We were exhausted. We were trying to unpack. I was trying to get a fire started because it was really cold. And the camera and our audio recorders were underneath a pile of equipment. So we missed that. So we have been kind of racking our brains on what to do and have been ultra ready to deploy all of our stuff. And that's what led to the S3 device.
Thank you, Larry Sharp. Happy Tuesday, y'all, and prayers. Back to work. Hope you're listening in while you're working, buddy.
Booze and Bigfoot Michigan Rob are present in the chat as well, Mr. Joe.
And we were in the URIs. We'll go ahead and do that in case you didn't put two and two together. That's where we've been meeting up with our guide, our URIs guide, MK Ultra. And we went back up because I needed to get sometimes we just like to get Jesse like into these areas like alone and kind of see what happens. A lot of times that really kind of stirs stuff up. So the URIs, we have been shocked by the constant array of
snakes.
Definitely. Snakes are freaking insane. But the constant, like, strange vocalizations that you can't identify. And it's wild, man. It's wild. I have never, if you watch this show, you know that my feelings on the subject of Bigfoot have evolved a lot.
You've really grown over the years.
Or just gone crazier over the past few years on it. I have a lot of questions because from a logical standpoint, a lot of this stuff doesn't make sense. It really, from an outsider's view, didn't make sense in the URIs because people always go, the URIs, it's just not that big of a national forest. There couldn't be a breeding population up there that would be able to stay hidden. I still look at this, that there's something going on with the Bigfoot phenomenon that we're not getting. I'm not saying they're interdimensional. I'm not saying they're aliens. I'm just saying there's something else going on here as opposed to just family units, tribes and clans of basically what amounts to pretty smart monkeys running around the woods of North America. This doesn't make sense to me. Still. No. But
you would have to completely ignore so much evidence. And at this point, it just keeps piling on and keeps piling on. You would have to ignore so much of that to accept that is a viable theory.
And I have often gone to, I don't really talk about this publicly a lot, but I sometimes go, I don't even know if there is a Bigfoot. I don't even know if Bigfoot exists. Something is going on out there. Mm-hmm. Some brand of high strangeness is going on out there. We have caught large upright figures on thermal, but they're elusive. They're looking out from behind trees. They move off after observing us for a little bit. And I've gone, there's high strangeness out there, But a lot of it, if you look at our videos, what have we captured a lot of? Mysterious lights, weird vocalizations, weird prints, and everything like that. A thermal image in the LBL that was something that looked large and canine and upright. We have caught a handful of something out there,
And
Bigfoot or 7 foot tall naked hillbillies watching us from the tree line. But at the same token, I'm just going.
And in terms of direct sightings, what happened to me at Laurel Creek was I saw a large, dark figure. I didn't see any details about it. I couldn't tell you right now. That was a Bigfoot.
But
I couldn't tell you that for sure.
It's almost sometimes like, and I don't like the paranormal, but it seems like sometimes that's mostly what we run into. We can only document what we run into. The Uwaris have made me even more confused on the subject of Bigfoot, because by God, the vocalizations that you're hearing up there tend to back up the fact that there is a population of Sasquatch in the Uwari area of North Carolina. And I'm looking at it just going, and it's weird up there, man. But I mean, I've never been somewhere where the vocalizations are so consistent. And it's not coyotes, because you will hear these vocalizations go, and then the coyotes start to like answer it or challenge it or whatever.
Not today you would hear that, because I don't have that.
You don't have that today, but we have that on audio. We recorded that.
And
so you can go, damn, it's definitely not coyotes, because those are coyotes.
Yeah.
That's a pack of coyotes.
So when I'm using this device, my favorite thing about this is there are farms nearby, so you can hear dogs barking in the distance. And you can hear at a certain point in the evening, the dogs at one of these farms just starts to get terrorized. And this happens pretty consistently. It just starts going off. But you're in the same environment. You're in this environment. You're hearing these vocalizations. You're hearing dog barking. You're hearing vocalizations. You hear coyotes go off. You hear vocalizations. You hear owls. But you're in the exact same environment over a period of time, hearing these things. But you can compare them in real time and say, that's an owl. That's a barking dog. That is definitely not.
So
carry on.
The Uwaris, and again, I'm going to reference MK. We tried to get MK on the show tonight, but he's done with us. He didn't know anything else to do with us.
After the incident.
Yeah, after the incident. The Uwari is a very fast-growing national forest. They're still adding in land as they're able to obtain it. So what will happen is the national forest will like expand around privately owned land sometimes. So it's a very fractured national forest. So you'll be in national forest land, and then like Jesse said, like a mile away, there's a small patch of still privately owned land that people might live on, or they have a farm on, and there's dogs. And you'll hear the dogs answer. And when I say answer, they're responding to these vocalizations of whatever's making these vocalizations. For the sake of simplicity, let's call them Bigfoot vocalizations, even though we haven't seen a Bigfoot vocalize there. But it's something with a big set of lungs, and it's solitary a lot of times, although you sometimes will hear them calling out to one another from a distance away, but it will do it, and the dogs start going crazy. And in one instance, the coyotes started going crazy. But you've been able to capture both vocalizations, the unknown and then the coyotes, or the unknown and then the dogs, and compare them and go, okay, now I can eliminate some things. This unknown vocalization is definitely not a dog, because that's a dog right there. And I can literally compare them side by side in the field at that moment. Same thing with coyotes.
Under the same conditions.
Yeah, so it's something is out there moving through the woods at night that is large, has a set of lungs on it, and it is vocalizing. And it is vocalizing consistently. And I am kind of shocked that there are not more audio. I'm surprised that there's not a constant stream of audio clips coming out of that region, because
I had a great idea, but I don't want to say it.
Yeah, don't say it. But now there's some people that have managed to catch it, but the Uwaris got really big a few years ago when finding Bigfoot was there. And and people still talk about it, that finding Bigfoot effect.
And if you go to places like El Dorado Outpost, which is basically a trading post, restaurant, convenience store, supply spot, just in the middle of the Uwharrie National Forest on that main road that goes through on Highway 109. If you go there, there's Bigfoot paraphernalia all around, Bigfoot coffee mugs and all that, but it's all older stuff. It looks like it was the site of a Bigfoot craze many years ago, and then it's kind of died down a little bit as of right now. There is a bar and grill there that is the Bigfoot Bar and Grill. So there's still that little hints of the Bigfoot craze there, and there's the cult of personality of Bigfoot there. It's in the zeitgeist of the local area, but it's not as crazy as it was when Finding Bigfoot came out, right?
So one of Mike says, what a friendly chat, very refreshing. We pride ourselves in that we don't really care if the channel gets much bigger than it is right now. So this is just an offshoot of our field investigations. We're not YouTubers. We share our stuff that we experience on YouTube because that's the best platform for it. But we are very usually, we have no problem like blocking people. So because we want people to enjoy the experience of being in the chat. So what you're experiencing right now is the fact that we want everybody here to enjoy themselves, and generally people that come and just try to be disruptive, I don't really care. They can go chat on the they can shout.
Sounds like they're doing some shatting on the you said they can go shat.
But
go shat yourself.
So it's very strange there. The Uwharries are very noisy during the daytime, extremely noisy during the daytime. There's a lot of off-roading type of stuff that goes on there. It's in a rural area, so there's a lot
motorcycling is very popular.
There's a lot of loud mufflers on vehicles, and there's a lot of air traffic going overhead. So what we've learned from being in there is that as the night starts to fall and you start getting into the dusk area, the vocalizations start up. But the vocalizations will they will coincide with airplanes going overhead or really loud vehicles in the distance. They start up a little bit before you can hear the vehicle, and then they stop a little bit around the same time. And I think they start up, it's because they can hear it before we can, and they know that there's a noise up there, and they start vocalizing. Now, as it gets later, and at least the vehicular traffic starts to kind of die down, and then there's nobody out. There's a lot of activity in that forest, but most of it is off-roading, overlanding, stuff like that. People riding around with motorcycles, just kind of doing whatever. There's a really big hiking community, and a lot of them have stories to tell, at least in our experience with it. But I'm looking at it, and I'm going, as I'm observing all of this, and just with the experience we've had so far, I'm seeing adaptation to an environment here. I'm seeing these things, they're laying low during the daytime, or they're just not vocalizing as much during the daytime.
Yeah.
Or it's so noisy that you can't hear it at all. But man, as the human activity starts to die down, you hear stuff. I mean, we have only had a handful of nights where we have really not heard anything up there. Some nights are more active than others, but we have had a crazy amount of experience. Once we get the long duration audio recorder project that we kind of haven't talked about for a bit because we got hit by porch pirates and they stole a lot of the stuff that I needed. And now we're waiting for Temu to become available. Jesse did a test thing with Temu. So once I can get my parts back that I'm missing,
the Temu test.
But I'm thinking now that's got to be one of the places that we launch one of these at, in an undisclosed area in that place. And
and I will say something we kind of made an observation about over the past couple of days is it seems like whatever these are out there, let's for the sake of the argument, let's say it's Bigfoot. Okay.
Thanks, Marcus Aurelius. My annual donation to assure I'm not blocked for one more year.
He's paid his fee.
The VIG. So yeah.
The VIG. One thing we've noticed over the past couple of days, and this is a discussion Joe and I have had, is that it seems like whatever these are, let's say for the sake of argument, they are a Sasquatch, that they know where people are and when people are in their correct places and when they're comfortable with that and when people are distracted enough that they can kind of make vocalizations. There was one evening we were there. It was early on in this project. It was one of the first times we met up with MK, and we're all sitting at camp. We were working on an experiment we were doing that hopefully we will have on our channel eventually. But we were working on an experiment we were doing, and we were kind of just sitting around camp and experimenting with just hanging out and acting normal as we possibly can. The three of us can. And MK and I were in a very heated discussion about the movie Demolition Man. Joe was talking, we were all talking, and we were all just kind of lost in conversation talking. And all of a sudden, and we were kind of getting louder and talking, and we have a fire, we're just sitting there hanging out. And all of a sudden, one of the clearest, craziest vocalizations occurred. And it's like it was quiet all night up until the point we are just all engrossed in weird, crazy conversation. And then as soon as we're completely engrossed in that, and it's almost like we tune it out with our surroundings, is when it pops off. We've discussed that, there are people camping out there all the time. Maybe these people are participating in normal activities, camping and hanging out. They're hanging out and having fellowship with their friends and their family and talking. And then these vocalizations will occur and they just don't even hear them. Or they just say, oh, that's
probably coyotes.
Probably an owl.
So it's weird. So to kind of set the stage, you have some of the regular like whoops or howls or whatever that we've heard, right? You had a small clip of that.
So what we have for both of these samples that I'm going to present to you guys, we took these within the last 24 hours. I got home and put them together. So there are two samples that I'm going to present for you guys. I have a long distance solitary yell. I have a couple of examples in this because it seems like it sounds like one creature yelling over and over and over again. I've got one of those. It's a distant yell. We've got a lot of audio of this. It repeated so many times. The other that we have sounds like two distinct creatures. And this is at the tail end of our members only live stream that we did. We did a members only live stream from the field while we're sitting there monitoring audio and we're sitting there monitoring the environment around us. And as soon as we ended that live stream, it's like almost as soon as we did that, these two vocalizations occurred, followed by something crashing through the woods towards us. So I have those. And the one that we did at the tail end of the members only live stream, I have the tail end of that where we're signing off, so you can have some context there of when it happened right after that members only live stream. So our folks that watch that, they'll know exactly when this happened on there. So whichever one you'd like first.
Do the standard one that sounds like the majority of what we've been hearing so far.
Okay, I'll pull that up. Okay. You can do it right now, and I'll pull this guy up. So you can do your thing.
What's my thing?
You're doing something while I'm pulling this up.
Oh, no. I want to the one vocalization that you're going to play in a moment where we were both going, is that a person? Something that always that reminded me of for some reason is, have you ever heard Bigfoot's referred to as yahoos?
Yes.
Because especially Kentucky and West Virginia, they're referred to as yahoos because sometimes it's almost a very human-like kind of cry. And I don't know why because again, I was on the fence going, God, is that a person? If that was a person, why didn't we hear him approach? Why didn't we hear him leave? Why didn't we see him on the thermal? And then when you cleaned it up, I'm going, it sounds more human-like than the other stuff we caught, but it still doesn't sound like a person. And then I'm like going, wow, that's the first call that I've heard out in the woods before heard myself, that kind of matches up with that Yahoo type thing. Yeah. With that Yahoo type call that people will report in Kentucky and West Virginia.
So I'm ready if we're ready.
Yep.
All right. So this is our first little example of the vocalizations that we're getting. This was the most consistent of the entire expedition. It sounds like it's the same creature, and we've got this one multiple nights and multiple situations, which we'll get into that eventually. But this sounds like one single creature. So we're going to go into this. And if you guys have headphones and you want to listen to this with headphones, please don them now.
I mean, he was screaming and it just stopped.
You heard it pretty well.
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. There's just a variation in the tonality. It's
not coyotes. It's not.
No, the heck, it's not.
Curse.
It's going off again. Oh my God. What direction is he in?
It's coming from a couple different directions.
All right. Let me try to see if I can pinpoint it.
If you can. Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, so we're going to play this one more time. I'm muting our mic. That way we don't have any ambient sound coming in on this. I want you guys to be able to hear this.
So, and again, we haven't really done anything with that audio more than just clip it off of the larger track. But you can hear that woo just drawn out.
It does this so consistently. It's shocking how consistent this is. It's woo, and then it'll do it again. Woo, and just
1 second before you do that. What happens if you yell back? When you do very poor whoops back, like I do, because we don't call blast and we don't hoot and holler a lot ourselves. I just did it one night just for the heck of it. And it was the most pathetic, like, woo, you've ever heard in your entire life. And it sounded like it ticked it off. MK was there with us that night, right? It sounded like it came up closer to where we were to our camp.
I think MK's probably trying to forget that.
And then
that
whooping I did, and then it left off. But it sounded irritated when it responded, and then I got those 3 chatter noises.
Yeah.
And I just went. I think I just ticked something off. I think something just is just upset that I'm poorly imitating it, and it's irritated, and it made its displeasure known, and then it left. That's the weirdest thing, man. I don't know. And I know I'm reading some into that, but damn, isn't that what it seemed like?
Yeah.
It did a whoop and then a 3 chatter noise and then 3 chatter noises and then did a whoop and then off it went. So
Marcus Aurelius says that's a classic Bigfoot yell. Yeah, it's super long. And we got it so many times. We have it was shocking how many times we were able to record. Like, it's so clean through the recordings are so clean. Yeah. I did punch up the volume a little bit for these. That way we could clearly hear them. But let's listen to that again. How about that? And we'll go ahead and mute us.
And again, there's accompanying video to this.
Yeah.
We were filming as well, but this is just the audio that we clipped real quick. So that way you can hear it's got a set of lungs on it, whatever it is. It's not a pack of coyotes. It's not a singular coyote. It doesn't have that shrill kind of quality from a coyote. Yeah, and it's not a dog howling.
That was actually a pretty good coyote I just did there.
Pretty damn good coyote call there, man. The coyote girl.
I found my calling. All right.
Yeah. So.
All right. We're gonna mute our mics and let's dive right back into this. If you've got headphones, don them now.
I mean, he was screaming and it just stopped.
You heard it pretty well.
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. There's just a variation in the tonality. It's
not coyotes. It's not.
No, the heck, it's not.
Curse.
It's going off again. Oh my God. What direction is he in?
It's coming from a couple different directions.
All right. Let me try to see if I can pinpoint it.
All right, there we go.
It does sound a bit like the Ohio.
Yes.
And it is so consistent out there that it is. I always have a problem, and this is just a me thing, and don't anybody get offended. I always have a problem with how people will personalize what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have been chosen by the Sasquatch for them to reveal themselves to me, and people insert themselves into the phenomenon and personalize it. It becomes self-aggrandizing, and it becomes, and you've all seen it, you know what I'm saying? Especially if you're on social media, you've seen it quite a bit. I'm going to go meet with the clan that lives in the woods behind my house this weekend. Can you take some photos? No, I don't want anybody to know. You just announced it on social media, man. Several thousand people know right now.
I about made a really bad joke.
Yeah, but don't. But people often have a tendency to make themselves part of the mystery. Okay, we're just observers. Well, Jesse's kind of tied into it. I'm an observer. Matter of fact, I mentioned that to Joe and Ron when I was on the show Wild and Weird with them that night, that Hellbent Holler is pretty much just morphed into, Hellbent Holler is basically just me observing you interacting with the weirdness.
It's one man's journey being dragged into the weird.
But I'm going to say this, is that it did seem like there was something out there was getting used to our presence, at least. Okay. And if you will notice that we keep going him, because it seemed like it had a very distinctively masculine, what's the right word for it? Personality, tone, whatever.
And I know that is jumping to conclusions.
But as soon as Jesse said him,
I just kept calling him. I just kept saying him.
And I'm like, him, why are you saying? She goes, oh, it's a him. Trust me, it's a him. And I'm like going, I can't really disagree with you.
He's a little jazzed up.
The impression that I'm getting. So, God, I wish I could tell the other part too about them.
If you want to.
Do you want me to? So can I share that?
You've already alluded to it. Go ahead.
So
go on, Joseph.
And we already shared this with MK, who can, again, if he's out here, the night of all of the activity, what is the
crazy yells and screams,
the crazy yells and screams,
and more things that happened, like
Jesse's
aggressive behavior.
Jesse's time of the month had just started.
Yes.
Okay.
That was very delicate of you.
Very delicate.
Thank you.
Okay.
It was respectful, and delicate.
And we purposely were like going, okay, we need to see what happens. Okay. And we had a better variety of stuff going on. Now, in some of it, we're talking, and then it happens because we kept the recorder running constantly. We weren't going, okay, recording session starting. Let's record for a little while, ending. Okay, everybody talk. We just kept the recorders running. And a lot of times you have to, if you're sitting there just quietly listening and everything like that, nothing happens. You almost have to be having like normal interactions and talking and more relaxed behavior, and then it chimes in. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going, I don't understand why that is, but it's almost like it's, I don't want to say joining into the conversation because that's a little too much, but that's what's going on, is that you can sit there quietly, and you always hear that. We always get those comments, just sit there quietly in the woods. Nothing usually happens. It's when you're kind of shooting the crap with each other, man. And then all of a sudden, then it just goes, hey, I'm here too. I don't know. But we had...
This one's interesting, Reverend PC. It was definitely trying to contact one another or give a location. It just had so much power behind it.
A couple quick things, housekeeping things real quick. Canon,
1985.
Canon is one of the OGs in the channel membership. We are community supported. We don't have sponsors. We are free of Chinese merchant influence. We have not taken that Temu sponsorship yet, no matter how often they try.
We have not.
We are community supported and community members like that. Keep us going.
100%.
Pork Chop Express, thank you for that. Pork Chop Express just went to the Expedition Bigfoot Museum in Georgia. And after seeing that Squatch turd at Expedition Bigfoot in Ohio and Georgia, the Ohio house now make a lot more sense.
If you have seen that video where we went to the Expedition Bigfoot Museum, at the end of it, I present the turd. And I think that part of the video is my Citizen Kane.
Mhm. My
Citizen Kane.
Rosebud was a turd.
It's a beautiful, it just fades up from black. You have a nice pan of this glorious glistening turd in a display case, and you have the rise of this beautiful music. It touches your heart.
Touches the cockles of your turd there.
It touches you. Touched by the turd. Go on, Joseph.
We're going to reference MK throughout this. MK, for those of you who don't know him, MK Ultra is a friend of ours who is an ultralight hiker and has spent a lot of time in the Uwaris doing ultralight hiking. He's a big part of the ultralight hiking community up there. And he was kind of our Uwari's guide because he's intimately familiar with like the landscape. And he says, well, there could be something to it because the first day out with you guys, Uwari let the weird out of the box. Strange sounds, weird lights, everything. So that sound that Jesse just played you is consistent with what we have been hearing there.
Yes.
But it sounded a bit like more intense that night. And it was more continuous that night. We heard it move. Can I allude a little bit about what happened with it and how the chain of events went out?
You have to talk about it now because people are jumping to crazy conclusions. If not, you freak. Go on.
We heard this thing approach where we were, got closer. Something crashed through the brush and threw a rock into the campsite.
We got all of that.
We have all of that. We got all of that.
Camera.
It was crazy. Okay. It was crazy. Didn't hit us. I don't even know where the rock landed at.
But it was a crash. I mean, it was a crash, and it was so loud.
Then it moved.
I jumped up because I was sitting down because we're out there recording. I'm holding the recorder for so long. I'm sitting down. As soon as it happened, it scared the bejesus out of me. I jumped like 3 feet in the air. It terrified me. But go on. Carry on.
Gosh, just going, this is the married life. Anyway, so whatever it was approached, threw something, or maybe I'm assuming that's what threw something at us. Maybe there was something secondary there that we didn't hear at all. Threw something at us and then proceeded to go up the mountain that was behind us.
Mm-hmm.
We decided to run around and try to catch it on the other side of the mountain. So we proceeded to run, get in our vehicle, drove around to the other side of the mountain, and then set up and waited.
Yeah.
And then heard it go to the crest of the mountain and then start to come down, and then gave a really pissed off yell like it knew what we were doing, and then went quiet.
It was wild. We had to go 6 miles, and we were speeding around these mountain roads to get to the other side of the mountain because for going over the mountain, it's quite a trek. But we were like, oh, let's head it off. You know, it was wild. That's probably one of the wildest nights.
Crazy nights.
One of the wildest nights we've ever had out there.
Todd Downey, whatever it is, has some serious pipes. Not sure a human can pull a sound like that. Too pure, consistent, and seems like it's covering a good distance of miles. Yeah, it was wild. So it definitely. I don't know. I don't know what this is. It's something large that does not match up with known wildlife in the area. It is something that I am going to assume had the ability to throw something at us. Okay. I don't know. It sounded like a Bigfoot. You know what I'm saying? It sounded like a Bigfoot. It's just, if you had to ask me out of all the areas that we have gone into and investigated, sometimes we go into areas with Bigfoot reports and I go, well, they saw large black figures moving through the woods and they assumed it was Bigfoot, but nobody really had a good Class A sighting of Bigfoot. Something weird's going on, but maybe it's something weird other than Bigfoot. And what's crazy is we're spending so much time on this is that we may not even get to the other topic tonight. Who cares? You know what I'm saying? So it's our damn show. We'll do what we want to do.
It's such a good thumbnail though.
That is a good thumbnail. So it
we'll talk about it a little bit, and then maybe we'll do a follow-up episode.
We'll do a follow-up. We'll squeak 2 episodes out of this. That's good. Let's work, man. So, so we heard that. Now the other one didn't sound like. So we did a live stream. We're running the parabolic. Jesse's got her S3, her sound stick. I've got the infrasound detector. Again, because if we think that these things are using these calls for communication, that's if infrasound's being used, that's where infrasound is coming into play at, as a communication tool, not as an offensive or defensive weapon. That doesn't jive with how the rest of the animal kingdom, how any other creature that uses infrasound uses it for communication. Okay. It would almost violate the laws of physics to be able to use infrasound like people describe it as zapping. Something else is going on with the zapping thing. But,
Ghetto Yeti didn't get to hear the audio.
All right, do one more time.
And then I've got more audio too.
If normally we'd say tough, but Ghetto Yeti
He's like, how far in did they play the recording?
Ghetto Yeti's he carries a lot of weight. So
yeah. All right, Ghetto Yeti, this one's for you. We're gonna play this again, and then we've got another audio recording that
doesn't match up with what we've heard before.
Yeah, that's pretty freaky deaky. All right, we're gonna kill our vocals here and go ahead and play this again for our boy Ghetto Yeti.
I mean, he was screaming and it just stopped.
You heard it pretty well.
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. There's just a variation in the tonality. It's
not coyotes. It's not.
No, the heck, it's not.
Cursive.
It's going off again. Oh my God. What direction is he in?
Like it's coming from a couple different directions.
All right. Let me try to see if I can pinpoint it. Oh my God. What direction is he in?
There you go.
Okay. That second call when we had because Jesse's heard this more than I mean, I was there and heard it at the time, but Jesse's the one who's reviewed it since we got home. That second call sounds more like the weird one on the stuff that we got after the live stream that we're going to play next.
Yeah.
Okay? That now makes me go, okay, that wasn't a person.
Because the one I'm going to play next is very close.
Yeah.
And very Banana Town.
So the next one, again, for anybody tuned in late, we were doing a live stream showing us with the parabolic setup, the sound stick with the high sensitivity microphone and the digital audio recorder. So infrasound, parabolic.
I haven't even reviewed the parabolic audio yet for any of these because we were running both. So this is just the S3 device that we've put together that is actually made for on the move. But I was running that. Joe was running the parabolic. So I haven't even reviewed the parabolic audio yet. It could be better than this. So because I haven't even
Parabolic's extremely directional though.
Yeah.
So if you're off a little bit, you can still hear it. It's not the best quality.
But we'll see.
But when it's dialed in, it's phenomenal. So
yeah. Let's do a knife check in between these, and we'll do the next audio review. Because Miranda Crew.
Oh, Miranda Crew.
Miranda Crew. Let's knife check it.
All right, we'll do a knife check in a bit.
Oh, I thought we were going to do it between.
We'll do knife check now if we want to.
Now.
Miranda. We actually have the knives we carried out with us because we just haven't had a chance to do anything.
Do anything else?
Cleaned them when I got home while Jesse was doing some stuff. But you have a Cold Steel SR1. It's not overly large, but damn, it's a chunky
boy.
It's a chunky boy. That's my usual normal sized like woods knife. It's got a thick blade on it. It's like indestructible. So
Sweet. I have a Cold Steel Bush Ranger. This is my good little backup when I don't have my fixed blade. It is a folder, but I use it as a fixed blade. I can strike sparks on it with a ferro rod, and I beat the crap out of this knife. I carry it all the time. Love it. It is a great knife. Are we ready for the next round?
Yeah.
All right, let's check these out. Take a look at the chat for me and let me know if you have anything else you want to do there. And then I'll bring these up while we're doing that.
Okay.
All right, here's the next one. All right, so this one is a little stranger. I'm going to give you some context for this guy right here. So this is make this big here. There we go. So a little context here. We were doing a live on the scene, members live for our members. Let's be this redundant here. We were doing a members live while we were sitting out there, and we had all of our equipment. We're monitoring and we're listening to all this stuff. It was pretty quiet at that point. We had not had a ton of activity, a ton of vocalizations at that point. And then for some reason, we thought, let's try to go live and see if that kind of stirs something up. We have this theory that the collective thought and the collective intention of everybody seems to stir up activity in the locations that we're at. We've had many, many examples of this occurring. So we thought we would stimulate activity by going live and bringing our members onto the investigation. And we didn't really get any vocalizations during the live. And then we wrapped it up. I think we were live for maybe 15, 20 minutes. We wrapped it up, and then this occurred. And you'll hear at the beginning of this signing off on our members live. And then what happens. So,
and we're whispering when we're doing most of the live. We're kind of talking because we've got live. Did we have like? No, we didn't have live.
No, we just used the, we just deployed the.
We were still kind of whispering a little bit just to kind of, try to not interfere with the recorders that we were running. So you'll hear us whisper and sign off, and then we hear.
Let's go ahead and give this a go. We're going to mute our mics so you guys can hear this and enjoy this. Go ahead and headphone up if you feel so inclined. Now, I do have the vocalization 1 and vocalization 2 labeled here. I think it's two different entities myself.
So there is some clicking that you're going to hear at one point.
That's me adjusting the microphone.
Adjusting the microphone. We minimized that because otherwise with her ramping up the audio with everything, it would have blown your eardrums out if you're wearing headphones. So the clicking is normal. That is just mundane. That's Jesse adjusting the microphone.
Yeah.
So we're signing off. We're alone out here. We're scanning around with thermals occasionally. No sign of anything or anybody.
All right. So let's roll that beautiful bean footage.
All right, we're wrapping this up. We're going mobile on foot.
Yeah.
We might come back live later on if we run across another patch of signal.
Yeah.
If nothing else, we'll pop in and let you guys know how everything's going. But keep your notifications on, guys, and we'll pop into the Discord and let you know if we go live, if we get some signal later. Wish us luck.
Bye, guys. All right. So those were two.
That's what Yahoo. Yeah, that just in it. Yeah. When I heard it before you made it louder, I was going, that might have been a person. But then hearing it now, after you've loudened it up, that sounded bestial. that sounded animalistic.
Yeah,
That sounded
and it's two
odd.
distinct voices. Is what it sounds like to me. That it's
Yeah.
two distinct voices.
Play that one more time for everybody.
Sure,
Let everybody kind of
absolutely.
hear that and just see
I
what.
want to address this first before we play it again. Pork Chop Express says, "Am I hearing knocks in there too, or is that y'all bumping the gear?" That's me. So the mic is suspended, and I'm adjusting it so I can find where this is coming from and point it directly at it.
Because we had just ended a live stream and nothing happened, and now we're getting ready to stop it and go on foot for a while.
Mhm.
And then we're just kind of doing this. So we're kind of trying to switch gears. A couple quick things. Deborah Stewart. member
Deborah.
For 18 months. Thank you so much. And then Deborah followed up with that.
Thank you,
Thank
Deborah.
you, Deborah. That's extremely kind of you. Thank you. That will go towards tick repellent.
Oh my gosh, we got eat up by
Got
ticks.
eaten up by ticks.
I had a Lone Star tick on me. He
Probably
was-
new snake gators if this keeps going the way it is. So we appreciate it, Deborah.
Thank you, Deborah. I appreciate it. We're gonna now replay that for you guys.
Let's
and-
see what people are saying off the first one.
What are they saying?
Very raw, definitely very primal. Miranda goes, sounds wicked. Sarge nowadays, name change, very clear. Second one sounds prehistoric. The second one is the one that I thought sounded almost like a person when I heard it just playing out of the recorder. But then when you hear it, the recorder's got a crappy little built-in like speaker to it. Everything sounds very tinny and everything like that. But especially hearing it now where the volume's ramped up,
Yeah,
it doesn't sound like a person. That sounds prehistoric's a great actual description for it. So yeah.
All right, we're gonna fling that back up, and we're gonna take another listen. If you guys got headphones, don them now. Don them now.
All right, we're wrapping this up. We're going mobile on foot.
Yeah.
We might come back live later on if we run across another patch of signal.
Yeah.
If nothing else, we'll pop in and let you guys know how everything's going. But keep your notifications on, guys, and we'll pop into the Discord and let you know if we go live if we get some signal later. Wish us luck.
Bye, guys. Yeah.
If nothing else, we'll pop in and let you guys know how everything's going. But keep your notifications on, guys, and we'll pop into the Discord and let you know if we go live if we get some signal later. Wish us luck.
Bye, guys. All right, so There we go. I went back. I replayed them a couple of times. That's why I had those labels on there in case I was going to replay them a couple of times, so we could kind of hear them again.
Yeah, big lungs on whatever that was. I mean, not a coyote, not a barred owl. It's I don't know what it was. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what it was. Prehistoric was a good.
That's a good description.
Good description.
Yeah.
So, and again, we'll examine the audio a little bit more. We still haven't checked the parabolic dish as of yet,
because we literally drove home. We drove all day, got home, and I threw this into the computer and I did some cutting on it, and wanted to get it out to you guys as quickly as possible.
Yeah. So I don't know. We don't know what's going on up there, man. I mean, I'm baffled after being up there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm baffled. We're looking into different like theories of like, you know, how they're able to stay hidden. Now, our buddy Bryce Edwards had a comment earlier. That's what I was looking for. He goes, could it be a gugwe? I don't know. I don't really fall into like this real overclassification of unknown.
The subcategory.
Yeah,
thing.
you know what I'm saying? You know, it's people, you know, gugwees are usually, I would just say aggressive Bigfoot if it was an aggressive Bigfoot. I a lot of times all of the gugwe and everything like that stuff, it's almost like people like want a pantheon of things like in Star Wars, you know, like all the different alien species, or, you know, like Harry Potter, all the different creatures. Reason why I've started this is the activity up there is like not like aggressive.
I think MK has
except for one spot. Except for
one spot, it's aggressive. But
one spot, it's aggressive.
The people are aggressive. It's almost a reflection of its environment.
Yeah, but the majority of the other place, and MK had a great theory.
Well, MK had a great theory on that. What I was going to say is that he and one of our witnesses, they had a conversation. We had a conversation that it's almost like it's a retirement home in a way. Like it's a Bigfoot retirement home. That they know they don't mess with anybody. Nobody messes with them, and it seems like it's a peaceful, respectful, mutual understanding.
Mm-hmm. We've got one-eyed Mike who originally complimented the chat, is saying that it's a chucker partridge. Where's our bird guy at?
Bird guy, chucker partridge.
Goshawk. Does that sound like a partridge to you?
Hang on.
Of
course, we literally just got home and listened to that, so it might be. What is it?
Chucker partridge, but I'm going to see what Gauze says. So those are giant partridges, if that's the case. So
there's a big old partridge. Okay. What do they sound like? You want me to play that one?
I don't know. Are they in the Uaris?
That's a good question. You heard it here, folks. All right, let me see here. Go ahead.
Chucker partridges are in the Rocky Mountains and the Great Basin regions of Western North America. So I think that rules out chucker partridges. So Goshawk says no.
I have one here.
Goshawk says absolutely not. So I think we're going to get rid of one-eyed Mike because he's continually going on it's birds, and we just show that it's not birds and burbs. Anyway, especially a bird that is on the other side of the continent. So,
well, you see, Joe.
But what was the bird that Goshawk helped us identify that night that we were taking?
American woodcock.
American woodcock. Because we had something that we were trying to go live, and we went live, and we had just irritated this bird, and it would not leave us alone. And we were like, what sort of bird is this? And then Goshawk's out there, and he just goes,
it's an
American woodcock.
So the American woodcock is the official bird of the Hellbent home.
Exactly right. So, so anyway, it's, I don't know. So, but these vocalizations are just, they're an ongoing thing there. They're an ongoing, it's damn near nightly up there. So now the goal is, can we catch it? Can we not catch it like in a cage, but can we, I tell you right now, trying to
Darcy Parks has some chucker knowledge here. It's going to chuck some chucker knowledge at us. A chucker sounds like a chuck. That is what they sound like. I have hunted them, so I know.
Yeah, it's like I said, I think it was just somebody trying to have some fun with the chat there. But anyway, we tried to.
We like having our bird guy.
I like having a bird guy.
He goes, thanks, buddies. Love helping you. That's why we have a bird guy.
We've got a bird guy. So nobody wants to put something out there and just, hey, we never go. This is 100% a Bigfoot, We're going to say Bigfoot for this because out of all the vocalizations we've caught.
It's pretty wild.
It's pretty. If I had to pick one thing that we've recorded and go, Joe, pick which one you think is most likely to be a Bigfoot, it's probably the stuff we got in the Uwaris.
Yeah.
So it's
I just want to put this alongside with, do you remember the Dogman Lake vocalization?
Mm-hmm.
That was probably one of the craziest vocalizations we've ever gotten. I kind of want to compare the spectrum for that and see if they're kind of similar or not.
But Jody Ferguson says there's a small vocalization right after Joe said keep your notifications on. I thought I heard something right around then. We got to look at the video for it. It might have been one of us, or it might actually be something that we just didn't pick up on the time. Again, keep in mind, I'm talking at that moment. We're talking, the recorder's running, the recorder's more sensitive than our ears are. So maybe something there, but anyway.
Why is everybody agreeing with MK? What did he say?
I don't know. What did an MK say?
I might have banned MK. I wouldn't ban MK. I might threaten him with it.
MK's got I don't even see MK. Did we accidentally ban MK? Sorry about that, buddy. I don't even see what MK said that he's
I don't either.
I don't know. What did MK Ultra say? Now I can't go on with the damn shit. What's that?
Some attempted humor.
Some attempted humor.
Is that your humor, MK?
But so I don't know, guys. It's
Tell me I didn't ban him.
I think that we're gonna. Did you actually?
I would never.
When we get the long duration audio recorders like all set up and ready to go, we're going to.
Are we gonna get to the topic that we discussed? Let's push that back to another day.
Let's at least talk about it a little bit.
We'll talk about it a little bit.
One of the things that is making the rounds right now to completely switch gears is it looks like there's a lot of online discussion.
Yes, it's reared its ugly head.
Reared its head again of the Bluff Creek Massacre. That's all of a sudden, and I don't know how these things get spawned. We're not really in tune with a lot of like Bigfoot or cryptid discussion channels. So maybe somebody did a show on it and that started the topic of conversation.
Every now and then these weird controversies and topics will come and just kind of cycle around.
Yeah,
so it's kind of interesting.
So it looks like when we got back in, we noticed that is still going on. There's still a lot of discussion on the Bluff Creek Massacre, which is odd because I thought that had but I guess everything's cyclical. It runs in like cycles with all of this stuff. So,
MK says, if banned, I will only rise stronger than ever.
But there's a lot of discussion on that right now. And we were going to kind of put it to the chat here and just see what people think about it. That is the discussion, the Bluff Creek Massacre. Now we're going to say this, that was, the main proponent on the Bluff Creek Massacre was MK Davis. We like MK Davis.
He's a real nice guy.
Or MK Davis, awesome dude. You know what I'm saying? Limited interaction with him. We usually interact with him at the Tennessee Wildman, but MK Davis, good guy, and there was the theory floated forward that a massacre of a group of Sasquatch had taken place at Bluff Creek, and that the Patterson-Gimlin film, Patty was, I guess, the maternal unit, the mother or whatever, trying to flee the massacre. And that's when they filmed her, and that film got out. But that a family or a group of Sasquatch had been killed right before the filming of the Patterson-Gimlin film. And it is obviously a very heated topic for a lot of people.
And it's also it's a very intense story. You hear it. It's like a mother fleeing with her massacred child. And that's going to really spark a lot with people. So what was the argument that this occurred? What kind of evidence that they present forward that this,
MK's a good hand video review. And he, there's some, and I'm not going to get into all the minutia, but that there were some things that they thought might be, like a blood trail, blood on people's clothing and hands, people that were there that might have been involved with the actual deed itself that weren't supposed to be there. There's just all of this stuff that goes on with it. Now, again,
it is interesting the circumstances of them getting this footage, that it just seems like it was just so perfect and everything lined up so perfectly for the Patterson-Gimlin film to be made.
Yeah.
It just seems like, and that's one of the arguments that people have, that it is not a real film, is that everything was just perfect. And you just have that moment there, and that the behavior of Patty is not in line with what other people have described as Bigfoot behavior. So would that kind of maybe explain that there was a sense of shock and awe going on?
My problem, and nobody ever wants to hear it, because the Patterson-Gimlin, because as somebody who obviously takes the topic of Bigfoot seriously enough to spend all of their disposable income and all of their time out looking for it and other weirdness. So obviously we've got some, we got some skin in the game. Okay. We're not debunkers. We're not skeptics, but we also try to be logical with this stuff. And my problem with the Patterson-Gimlin film's always been what I say time and time again. When I look at Patty in the Patterson-Gimlin film, I don't see a guy in a suit. But I do see something that, if that is a typical specimen of the Sasquatch species, we'd have one on every major zoo in the entire country.
Right.
I'm saying I don't see any indication of speed or grace or stealth. It just kind of lumbers. It's kind of sloppy looking. It just doesn't, and you don't really hear people describe it when people talk about their encounters, some of the more believable encounters. It moved like in a flash. It did this, it did that, the way it just, and I don't see that when I look at Patty.
Mm-hmm.
So the possibility that maybe something else was going on.
Ghetto Yeti has some input here on this as well. He says that Rene DeHendron and his crew worked for the logging interests, and he killed the whole Bigfoot family. The tracking dog photo does have a weird red pool.
And I've always gone, there's something just doesn't make sense about the Patterson-Gimlin film on the way it's presented to me. I'm sorry, it just doesn't to me. And I'm not saying that I'm backing up like the Bluff Creek Massacre theory, or I'm not backing it up. I'm just saying, I know everybody always just gets because we all want validation of what's going on out here. And we want to go, and the Patterson-Gimlin film is the gold standard for a lot of people, and it's, as far as evidence of Bigfoot. And I'll admit, nobody's really been able to recreate it. Nobody's really been able to debunk it. It doesn't look like a guy in a suit, but damn, if that's what Bigfoot is, why are we having such a hard time catching them? And people have theories. Oh, they were on horseback. It smelled the horses, da, 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 da. Well, here's the deal, is that one of two things happened. So fine, it's never smelled horses before, but it knows what men smell like, humans smell like. That's possible, but I'm looking at it going, it's just, it knew those horses were coming, and it just kind of just chilled out, and there's people. That's very poor judgment on its part.
Suggests what if it was injured? So this contributes to the Bluff Creek Massacre
possibly
story.
And I don't know
that there were other factors involved here that
were
not considered beforehand.
Sarge, what if Patty was the one slow, dumb one that you keep wondering about? Because I always go, if Bigfoot are just animals, we'd have them in cages. We'd have them in the zoo. If they're people, if they're another race of people, well, some people are dumb. Some people are unlucky. Some people are poor, are poor risk managers. They take unnecessary risks sometimes. Maybe that is the one. I don't know, but there's something going on with it. And I'm just going, maybe there's something else to the story. And now people can go, well, this Bigfoot researcher says no, and da, 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 da. I'm sorry. If just because someone has been involved in Bigfoot research for decades, I don't really care. You know what I'm saying? Just because somebody has a recognizable, well-known name in Bigfoot research, that doesn't make them an
authority
above reproach in my name or an authority. At this point, we're all batting zero.
We're batting pretty good. Listen to this audio we presented.
Yeah, but still at the same time, nobody's caught up. Nobody's been able to definitively prove a Bigfoot. So when you get right down to it,
still bad.
They've been losing a lot longer at the game than we have. And we've been losing a lot longer at the game than somebody else who's just starting out. Okay. So I guess what I'm saying is that I don't know. I don't know. I don't see a lot of this stuff, or at least it doesn't jump out at me when I review the Patterson-Gimlin film.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the other thing too. I ain't MK Davis.
That's true.
I don't really, but then again, I don't set and go frame by frame of other people's stuff like that. We'll do it with our stuff.
Yeah.
But other people's.
And I am considering a side note. I am considering a glorious return to Jumper Gate.
Oh, good Lord.
Oh, yes.
So,
oh, yes. But go on.
But I don't.
I lost you.
I'm going to say this right now. I don't feel like I have the complete story with the Patterson-Gimlin vote. There's a lot of questions that I still have.
There's a lot of holes there, and it seems like none of it is addressed. People ask, there's no context before or after, really. None of these questions have been answered satisfactorily.
Yeah, I don't know.
At all.
And at the same token, so a lot of people who disagree with the Bluff, I don't want to keep saying the M word. Let's just say the Bluff Creek incident. Will praise MK Davis to high heavens for a lot of the other video review. So all of a sudden, all those skills have just abandoned faulty with this particular case. I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. I think a lot of it comes down to personal bias.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Gimlin's a very likable man. He's like the patriarch of the Bigfoot community, for lack of a better term. You know what I'm saying? And I think that a lot of people allow those warm and fuzzy feelings that they have to just completely take them out of the conversation for it. You know what I'm saying? They go no further. And I understand that. And I'm not saying that that reputation's not rightly deserved. I'm sure it is. I've never met him. You know what I'm saying? But I will say this is that I don't know what, I mean, I see the arguments for and against on this, you know what I'm saying? And I'll be honest with you too, like a lot of other Bigfoot stuff, don't take my word for it. I don't really pay a lot of attention to other like Bigfoot investigators and researchers, we're doing our stuff, we don't cast prints or do anything like that. So, I don't know, but I can look at it and I can just go, I'm going to remain objective throughout my observation here. My observation is, okay, that's Bigfoot. Why don't we have it? Why haven't we been able to catch that? If that's what's running around North America, we should be able to catch that. Yeah. I didn't just see that move off in a blur. I didn't see that and look at it and go, those are physical attributes we'll never be able to match in the woods. You know what I'm saying? It's sloppy.
So it definitely does raise some serious questions about the context of what was occurring.
So some of the theories are she was injured. You know what I'm saying? Some of the theories are she was trying to move away slowly and deliberately to lead them away from her family.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But it is.
But that controversy is rearing it back up. So there's some new discussion on it right now. We thought we'd bring that up and kind of talk about it just because I know a few years ago it was a very, very hot topic in the Bigfoot world.
Yeah.
When is something not a hot topic in the Bigfoot world? But it was such a controversial issue. It was crazy. There were people threatening each other. When that first came out, and that was a big discussion topic, people were losing their minds.
Damn minds.
They were losing it. And I'm just wondering if this is going to start building again.
I don't know. And it's Yeti goes, do you think there's missing footage due to the total lack of context, or is it just short rolls of 16 millimeter film?
That's a good point.
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to tell you also this. I am not a person who fetishizes the Patterson-Gimlin film. Okay. Listen to what Bill Munns has got to say on the topic. You know, read his book, look at the best version you can find that's not AI enhanced, make your own decision. The Patterson-Gimlin film to me is just the way people, and trust me, I'm on some Bigfoot discussion groups that I don't really take part in them too much anymore because we've kind of gone off into left field based upon what we've experienced. But it sounds like two old men sitting on a porch sometimes arguing the details of, like, I don't know, like the 1963 World Series. You know what I'm saying? You know, statistics, what color shirt was he wearing, all this minutia, which might, I guess, be important when you get down into it at that point. But to most people, you've made up your mind when you viewed the what's the word I want to use? Enhanced version? I don't know. Because you can get different versions of them out there, but of the Patterson-Gimlin film. But the really good version that popped up a few years ago, I think most people are going to look at it, and then they're not really going to care what film it was shot on or how, like, this. They're just going to look at it and go, Bigfoot or a guy in a suit.
Yeah. And
all the minutia is just because people are just really, really into it, and they like arguing about very fine points on it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, where other people, again, like World Series, some people just like watching the game, and then other people want to sit there and argue batting averages and this and that and the other. Tell how much I watch baseball. That's pretty much the extent of my baseball knowledge there.
Well, do you think that maybe the resurrection of this conversation is almost like a tactic to distract from what is going on right now? You know,
excuse me, but
that happens in the UAP UFO world all the time.
Yeah.
That people start to get whipped up about something that has passed and put to bed at some point, and it's kind of faded into memory, and it's resurrected to kind of stir controversy to keep people off of the correct path.
Yeah, and you know
what is happening right now.
It's very, I don't know. It's weird too, because it's something that can't really be discussed a lot because people's tempers start to get too, like, worked up into it. The whole idea, I mean, you have a kill or no kill discussion about Sasquatch. People are ready to kill you.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You know, they're ready to take you out of the equation. So it's one of these things that it's very difficult to discuss. And I'm going, let's just talk about it. You know what I'm saying? You know, you might have a different opinion than me. I might have a different opinion of you. At this point, nobody's really proved anything. Just discuss it. I mean, I can see where both sides are coming from, but I'm also going to say this. I know that the mainstream Bigfoot community pretty much just dismisses it because of the names that are involved. I mean, I don't really care. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's been mentioned.
It's definitely worth a discussion.
Somebody's been mentioned in a book or several books because they've been involved in Bigfoot research for decades. That's great. I admire your dedication, but I'm not going to take somebody's word blindly like that. You know, really not going to take anybody's word blindly like that. You know, let's discuss it. It's weird that it's just the discussion seems to be shut down as far as that goes for it then. But and
maybe that's the intention of bringing up such a heated topic and that topic kind of resurfacing out of nowhere and happening again.
Oh yeah. So
that maybe shutting down the conversation is the total goal. Breaking up coalitions could be the total goal.
Kaiju Ninja, why is it that no one can produce a body after a supposed kill?
Kill. What was that?
Kill. I don't know. That's a good question. Why?
Yeah.
Is there a cover up and nothing slips through it? It seems like the cover up for the UAP topic would have greater consequences, like the truth behind that cover up.
Oh gosh, SC007,
what man.
We still struggle with the grassy knoll footage, let alone the Patterson-Gimlin footage. Yeah.
We might circle back to that topic and maybe take some maybe
The grassy knoll or the Patterson-Gimlin?
No, we ain't touching the grassy knoll.
No, I was like,
we might
we just shifted gears, boys.
we might switch around. We might circle back to.
I think we should circle back.
And listen, let some people. Hey, we could probably get MK to come on the show and talk about it.
Not MK Ultra, MK Davis.
MK Davis. Have both of them on there. Show of MKs.
What if it could be like an MK versus MK fight?
Oh damn.
Yes.
So,
That would be cool if we could have him come on and kind of talk about his work in that arena and maybe talk about present his case on that. I think that would be really, really helpful. I think that would help educate me a lot for sure. Because I've not gotten really into the controversy of a lot of the Patterson-Gimlin footage hoopla that people get into. I understand that there's a lot of controversy of is it real or not, but the whole we're not calling that a massacre, are we? Massacre story. We do that with the LVL too, don't we? But that was totally news to me. I didn't know that was a huge thing. I remember hearing something in passing years ago, but I didn't realize it was such a big deal as it was until you started telling me about it.
Well, I mean, even then, I'm not the most educated person as far as like Bigfoot researcher culture goes, because I always say I didn't get into this to learn about other people who are also into this,
right?
And I'm familiar with the basics, but people will all the time go rattle stuff off at me, and I'll be like, I have no clue what the hell it is you're talking about. Remember, you're talking about to the guy that doesn't cast prints because I don't see any like use in it.
Jeff Matlow, Wildcat Tattoo, my boy, he's got a great point here. The Patterson film is interesting, but the experience that Albert Ostman had sealed the deal for me. The detail he described is seen in sightings today, 100 years later.
But it's so I don't follow up with all of the, because at the end of the day, here's the deal. There's so much circular reasoning that goes on in the Bigfoot community. Bigfooting is a hobby for some people. And just like collecting baseball cards is, and instead of having your baseball card collection, well, here's my cast prints that I have, and it's cool, and people take a lot of enjoyment out of it, and that's knock yourself out, you know what I'm saying? But it's not what we're into. And seeing as how no one has been able to definitively prove Bigfoot is out there, therefore I'm not really going to pay attention to what other people do. If they have a particular skill set beyond like a Bigfooting, maybe like with a piece of tech or a piece of equipment or something like that, I'll pay attention to that. But people's own personal theories on how to look for Bigfoot, I really don't care. Do whatever you want to do, man.
Yeah.
You want to sit in a field and play a flute, knock yourself out. You want to nail bloody stakes to the side of a tree and try to do it, knock yourself out, man. Do whatever you want to do. I don't really care.
Bloody stakes.
Bloody stakes.
That's the bloody stake, man.
So I don't know. So there's a lot of I'm not familiar with. Our paths have taken a different turn. I don't really know a lot about other Bigfoot researchers because I just don't care to know.
Yeah, we're a little busy.
Anyway, all right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up here in a second. I know this.
Boo Berry, your brain went where mine did. Go out in the middle of the woods with a drum kit. I love that guy. I love drum kit.
He just passed away not too long ago.
Well, his legacy endures.
I just want to say that. What is his name?
What a fantastic! I remember when you showed me that video, and I was enthralled. Bigfoot drummer guy. Bloody steaks does sound good at the moment. I'm starving to death.
It's not Tim Fasano.
We stopped at a hot dog place with a Bigfoot painted on the side of it this morning, and I have not eaten since. So we're gonna try to get some food in a bit.
Henry Frenzoni.
Henry Frenzoni.
Zoni, okay.
Paisan as well. Henry Frenzoni. Yeah. If you guys have not looked up Henry Frenzoni, he takes a drum kit into the woods.
Yeah.
He's passed away. R.I.P. Henry. Your legacy endures for sure. I think we're gonna wrap it up in a second. I do want to thank you guys for coming to this special Tuesday edition. I know that the show was geared towards us talking about that, but I think it's a TBC, to be continued on.
That's a to be continued.
Yes, very good. I think that is a to be continued on that topic of the Bluff Creek Massacre, because here's the deal. I don't know a lot about it. I saw that it came up. And I think we should maybe reach out to MK if we want to do a special show where maybe he lays it out for everybody and talks about it for everybody. The other MK who can consult us on MK activities also said the same thing, that it might be good for everybody to kind of get it laid out in front of them and really see, what this side of the argument is. But other than that, thank you guys for checking out our audio that we got.
I know a lot of people are going to go back and listen to that again. Let me know what you think, man.
Yeah.
If you think it's a bird, at least pick a bird that's in that region and not on the other side of the
And
continent.
don't try to bluff us here. We got a bird guy. Okay?
We got a bird guy here. So yeah,
We got a bird guy.
we got a bird guy on call. So
on call. Nice.
yeah. So all right, you guys be good. We
Thank
appreciate
you
it.
guys. Yeah, and let us know in the comments below what you think about the audio we captured. I'm gonna clean it up some more for the main stuff that I'm gonna put out with it. But that is just a small little sampling, a little taster of what we have captured out there over the past few months. It has been a wild time, and I think it's over for a while right now. We're so burned out in general, and definitely on the UREs right now. But it was well worth it. The work that we conducted out there, I think, is going to pay dividends for advancing what we know about Bigfoot, and especially Bigfoot in the UREs. So we've still got a lot of evidence review to do. That's on me. But I want to thank you guys for joining us on this special Tuesday edition of Hellbent Live. Thank you for checking out that audio that we gave you guys to check out. And a big thank you and shout out to our members. You guys are the reason we keep this going. You're the only way we can keep this going.
Thank you for everybody who submitted a super chat to us tonight.
Yes,
we greatly
absolutely.
appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Because we do a lot of traveling and everything. And this is 100% viewer supported, that we do not take sponsorships from companies. We don't stop in the middle of a video and talk about some silly product that has been given to us. We don't do that. And I think that helps maintain the integrity of our investigations and what we do, that we are supported by our viewers. You guys are a part of this project. And if you guys weren't part of this project, neither would we be.
Real quick, not to interrupt you, because we do have some support that we need to address before we go on.
Yes, sir.
Miranda Crew, thank you so much for that. Are you going to CryptidCon in Lexington, Kentucky, November? No. We will be at Tennessee Wildman.
Yes. And we will be at the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference in July.
And then
Tennessee Wildman's in October. Is that a question? That's a question mark.
I have no clue.
It's August.
I thought it was also,
August.
yeah. We'll be doing those, and then that's
It's
it for
August.
us. I don't know if or when we're doing anything else. We like meeting the people, but it's too rough with the schedule. It keeps us out of the woods, but we will not be doing that. And then our buddy Alan Howell, great live capture.
Thank you,
Alan. We greatly appreciate that. So
Appreciate you guys.
now we are wrapping it up.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Hang on. Whoa, everybody stop. We got to get some praise in here for me. Special thanks to Jesse for the quick turnaround on the audio tonight. Yes, of course. Yes. You're welcome. Yes, all of you. Thank you. Yes, of course. I do it. I ran in and I was like, Joe, go over there. I've got to get this out. So I got that done, and I'm so glad I did. I wanted you guys to hear that and check that out. So of course. All right, guys, I'm starving. And you are too. You guys have a great week. I hope you have an awesome week, productive, safe, all of that good stuff. Anything, Joseph?
We're eating and going to bed.
We're done. We're exhausted. We've been out in the woods for 5 days straight. So thank you guys so much. We love and appreciate every single one of you. Remember to take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Good night.